So we all got that one or maybe a few things that we may struggle with that we want to turn away from, right? Things that we no longer want a part of our life, but for some reason that thing keep making its way back into our life and we keep on falling to it. And then we go back to that place of, I don't want to do this again. And then you fall to it again. Well, today, I hope that you get your breakthrough because I want to show you something that God showed me. So I was reading James, and in James it said, God never tempts us because God is never tempted by Satan. Does that mean we're our gods? No. We're little g's, but we're still not the God. We are not God. We have Jesus on the inside of us, so we carry Jesus wherever we go. But no, we are not gods. But since we carry the Spirit of the Lord on the inside of us, we should not be tempted by the devil the same way Jesus was, right? When you read Matthew, you see times where Satan tried to tempt Jesus, right? Satan took him out and he showed him the whole city. He said, I will make you ruler over all these cities. You will be king, right? You will be ruler over all these kingdoms. All you got to do is bow down and worship me. This was Satan talking to Jesus. Jesus said no. Satan tried to tempt him with a couple other things. He told him to jump off a cliff. Surely the angels will come and keep you from hurting yourself, keep you from killing yourself. And so Jesus was like, again, no, you shall not tempt the Lord your God. Basically, all these times the devil was trying to tempt Jesus and Jesus standing on all 10 toes. That's how we supposed to be. So I know it's times where some of us may have unknowingly, which I have said before, God allows us to be tempted by the devil. But that's a lie because we're not tempted by God because God is not tempted by the devil. So if God is not tempted by the devil, we shouldn't be tempted by the devil either. And I'm going to show you. I'm reading this and it said, no one undergoing a trial should say, I am being tempted by God, since God is not tempted by evil, and he himself does not tempt anyone. And then it says, but each person is tempted when he is drawn away and enticed by his own evil desire. I like to look at the Hebraic and Greek meaning of certain words because, as you know, the Bible was written in Greek and Hebraic. So I like to look at certain words of the true meaning behind it, right? Now, the meaning of enticed, right? It's to bait a hook or set a trap with bait. It's to entice a victim into a moral trap, luring them into their own selfish desires. So the only time that you're actually tempted is when you're drawn away by your desires, by your selfish desires, right? So I can only use myself as an example. Now, if y'all have known on my channel, I've told y'all multiple times, my thing with this, what I always went back to was marijuana. I always fell back, but it was the one thing that I wanted to give up so bad. And the only times I would get to points where I would go 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 2 months, 3 months of not being tempted at all. It's not even a thought on my head anymore that I want to go smoke. Only because I was actively seeking Christ. I had my own relationship with him day in and day out. I missed some days, but I made it my every effort to continue out that walk, right? Because of that, I was not tempted, right? Thoughts, I would drive around, I would smell it, and I frown my face up like it stink, And then I would go weeks. I would go a week or two, maybe 3, 4, 5 days without seeking God at all. Next thing you know, them smellings that I'm smelling is starting to smell good again. I'm starting to get tempted again. Man, I could go smoke after this shift today. I had a long day. Man, I'm tripping. But the problem with that was that hint of I want to, that pinch of, man, that smell good. A pinch of, man, I could go to the dispensary right now and go get me some. A pinch of I want to, that's all the enemy needs. And he gonna keep on hitting that point until you bite the bait. I'm going to give you what Jesus showed me in a vision, but I'm going to give you this definition of entice one more time. To bait a hook or set a trap with bait. The bait, I told y'all mine was weed. Yours is whatever your desire is that you want to get away from, that you want to put away, but you keep falling to it. It might be more than one. That's your bait, okay? It's bait on a hook to set a trap with bait, to entice a victim into a moral trap, luring them into their own selfish desires. Now I want to show you what Jesus showed me, right? This is so good. Let's look at a fisherman and fish, right? When you throw your fishing rod into a pond, lake, sea, ocean, whatever, before that rod is even thrown into the water, as a fish, you might be in a school of fish. It might be a group of fish. It might be a fish by itself, just whatever their predator is, they're trying to stay away from that. They just going about life their own way, right? Not even worried about bait, not even worried about a hook, not even worried about a worm, not worried about a fish bait, whatever. They're not thinking about that, right? They going about life. But as soon as that bait get tossed in there, big eyes. As soon as that bait get tossed in, now it's, oh, that look good. I want a worm. Oh, that look, right? Now in the eyes of us humans, in this walk with Christ, we're staying on that narrow path. We're trying to stay walking inside the will of the Father, right? The minute we lose focus, the minute that bait get tossed in and we look at it with googly eyes and we say, ooh, that look good. Ooh, I want that. The minute you subject to get snatched right up out that water. That's the time where you're tempted. Now, you got to think about it. Definition of tempting. The only way you can be tempted to do something is if you part want to do something and part of you don't. That's the only way you can be tempted. I'm tempted to do this, meaning I want to do that, but I know I shouldn't. That's you being tempted, right? So when that bait is getting tossed in there, you're not supposed to look at it with big googly eyes and like, man, I miss it. Ooh, I want it, but nope. I want it, but nope. Because you got to remember, the devil is in the spirit realm and demon Satan, they in the spirit realm. So they see in the spirit what's going on. In the spirit, you want that thing. You want it, but you know you ain't supposed to. But you want it. I want it, but I ain't gonna do it. When he see that, it's like, okay, we got a point of entry. We know we know what they want. We know what they like. Let's just keep on feeding it to them. Eventually, they're going to bite that bait. Now, going back to the fisherman, when you throw that fish in that pond, you're feeling little nudges. I don't know how fishing works, but you're feeling that nudging on that rod. You know something there, but you're not catching nothing. But you see it, you know it's something there because you keep almost getting it. You're not going to move from that spot. You might reel it back in and throw it out there again and hope that something else get it. You're not going to move away yet. But if Satan is throwing bait out there for us to catch, right? And we not even paying attention to it, get out of here. Don't care about that. Or you may even feel a pinch of temptation. You may even feel like, man, I think I want to do that. But you go to God. He knows the opportunity is right there. He sees everything. So him knowing that temptation is right there at your eyes, knowing that thing is right there to grab, but you say, no, I can't do this on my own. I'm going to God. The minute you do that, the minute that thing get pushed away, you right back on track to weed, alcohol, that girl, nothing. So back to fishing. If you throwing your fishing rod out there and you sitting out there for hours and you ain't getting nothing, what you gonna do? You gonna pick your stuff up and you gonna go somewhere else. You gonna go somewhere else and see if you can get another fishing spot. Okay, I ain't getting nothing over here, so let me go somewhere else. So, right? So in the eyes of the enemy, him trying to continue to hit you with this bait, him trying to get you to go back to your old ways, your old life, he's seeing you growing. He's seeing you with Christ. He's seeing that ain't nothing that affects you no more. He know you can't get you no more. So he goes to the next person. He leaves you alone because you are walking in your authority. You walking in the power that God gave us. We all got our own things that we want to get away from. We all got our own desires that we don't want no more. Our flesh wants it, but we don't want it no more. Not everybody, when they're trying to stop something, can just cut it cold turkey and don't have no more want tos. Not everybody is like that. Most people, when you want to stop something, you stop it. But you have times where you may go back to it. Or you have times where you literally bawling your eyes out because you want to do it so bad. But you know you don't want to and you know you can't. So there's a process. And there are some people who can just, I don't want this no more, and I'm not doing it, and they completely cold turkey turn away and never want to do it again. People are different, but the one thing that never changes is Christ and his helping hand in our life. We can't do anything without him. So I hope people catch breakthrough from this video. Just continue to seek God, man. Like, that's what I had to do. When I was battling smoking weed and I was battling, you know what I'm saying, turning away from it, I was one of those people who it just wasn't a cold turkey stop. I stopped, went back to it, stopped, went back to it, stopped, went back to it. But each time, it was back to what it said. Each person is tempted when he is drawn away and enticed by his own evil desire. So don't get enticed by that bait. Don't let that worm stop you in your tracks. Don't let that bait come through and stop you in your tracks in your way to Christ. Look at it. Get out of here. I ain't worried about that no more. Eventually, you'll get to that point. But first, when it looks good, when it looks doable, when you want to do it, turn to Christ. And I'm telling you, as long as you keep doing that, you'll get to that point where it's, get out of here. And the devil will leave you alone. So I love y'all, man. Continue to fight. Continue to walk this walk out. I see y'all in heaven.